Hey everybody! So today we're going to talk about neck knives, and we're going to talk about these two in specific. This is the Cold Steel Super Edge neck knife versus the KA-BAR Becker Necker BK11. So let's start with the Cold Steel. The weight on that guy is 0.8 ounces, the blade thickness is 2 millimeters, the blade length is 2 inches, the handle on it is what they call a Cro-van handle. And to me, it's almost like a very stiff rubber. And let me bring it up here. If you grip it, you can squish it just a little bit, but since the handle's so small, it's almost helpful that they made it out of that grippy material because it makes it really easy to grab onto then. I really like that about that knife. The blade steel is AUS 8A. The sheath is what they call their Secure-X sheath. I think that's just a fancy way of saying plastic. It does not feel like Kydex to me. In fact, I'm about 95% sure it's not Kydex. The overall length on this guy is 4 5/16 inches. One thing I really like about this knife is the price point. It's only $18, and I've owned this knife for about 3 years. I've never had to sharpen it. I keep it in my car actually. I work in an office building on a day-to-day basis. The only time I really need a neck knife is when I go camping or need a backup knife, and I do it a couple times a year, so I don't really use it that much. But having it in the car sure is handy, especially with the edge on it, and I'll show that to you guys here in a second. One thing, this chain did not come on the knife. I added that myself. But look at the edge on this thing. This thing is just insane. One con about this is going to be very hard to sharpen when it gets dull. But the pro is it's cheap. You can always buy another one if you trash it. So if you buy packages or you have an automotive repair or got to cut something, this knife is just super. I can't brag about that edge more. I just love it. A couple more pros about this knife. You know, for having it in the car and beating it around, you know, it's not really scratched up that bad. It seems to wear very well. You know, when I first got it, it comes with a key ring on it when you buy it, and I used to carry it in my pocket on my keychain, and that's actually a very effective way to carry this too. The lockup on this sheath is just really tight with this handle material. I'll put it in there for you and shake it. I mean, it's not coming out of there. I mean, that's how stiff it is, and you can hear a little click. So carrying it in your pocket is definitely an option too. You know, after 3 years, like I said, another pro, it's still razor sharp. I mean, that thing will still cut. The serrations are very aggressive. It's a great knife for opening packages, and it's also small and light compared to a lot of other neck knives. A lot of other neck knives are huge, and that's why I'm comparing it to the KA-BAR. So even though I'm comparing this to the KA-BAR, you still have to understand these knives are really in different classes just because of their size. The smaller neck knife is just for little tasks. The KA-BAR is more of an all-around campsite kind of knife, so it's not a fair comparison, but if you're looking for a small neck knife, great, the little one's going to work. If you're looking for an everyday carry, the KA-BAR might be a little heavy for you. It's just a personal choice on what your needs are going to be. So let's just jump in on the KA-BAR here. And so this is the KA-BAR BK11 Becker Necker neck knife. The price point on this one is about $32. It's still relatively cheap. What makes the price go up on this knife really quick is they sell micarta handles for this, and a lot of people just wrap it in paracord, and that's more than sufficient. And also the TDI clip, which you can see I have here. I really like that on this knife. It's a really nice accessory to have. So that runs about $11 to $14. It just depends on where you can pick it up and for how much. So the blade length on the KA-BAR is 3 1/4 inches, and as you can see, it's black epoxy coated. So that's what that looks like. Overall length is 6 7/8 inches. The blade steel is a 1095 Cro-van carbon steel. I don't have much experience with that. I actually purchased this knife about 2 years ago. Somehow it ended up in my drawer full of other knives that I don't carry on an everyday basis, and they're just knives that if I need something to beat on, I'm going to go grab one of those and use it. So I ended up finding this in a drawer, and you know, I pulled it out and I'm like, man, I really want to do something with this knife. I really want to make it usable. So I started looking at it, and I'll get into the changes I made on it here in a little bit. The weight on this is 2.5 ounces. It's made in the USA, so if that's important to you, that's a great selling point for you. So just to go over my wrap is a paracord that I just started up here on the top of the handle in that hole. It's just one long piece, and you can see I just weaved it through, and then when I got to the end I just came through that side, tied 2 knots to stop, and then put a little pinky lanyard on it, so if I drop it and I have my pinky finger through there, I'm just going to catch it just like that. So that's just, I really didn't watch any videos. I just kind of started trying a couple different things, and that's what I ended up with, and that's what I like. The other thing I put on here, like I said before, was the TDI clip. I put it on this side because I actually carry the sheath inside my pants, and then this just goes over my pants like that, and it's actually a really nice carry knife now that I've been carrying it for a couple of weeks. I'm starting to really enjoy it. So one of the cons, and it needed some jimping. This knife came with none, and I'm a big AR-15 guy. I love AR-15s. So I decided to put some AR-15 jimping on it. My goal with the AR-15 jimping was just to match the AR rails that are on an AR, and just to kind of set it off and give you something nice to grip into. The one thing I found after adding the jimping is that you really have to sand down the edges and the corners, just because the slots that I put in there are so large to make them comfortable to your thumb. They really have to be sanded down. So let me show you that real quick. I'll pull it out. So that's what I added. I ended up using a Dremel and a file in combination, and then to finish it off and actually match the color of the knife, I ended up using some liquid gun blue on that, and it came out pretty good. I'm really happy with it, and it's in the right spot. It's nice and grippy now. Like I said, I've really rounded off the edges there on all sides, and I just really like it now. It's nice to hold and comfortable in hand. A couple other pros about this knife is it's got a really nice, strong, thick bodied blade on it. It's really got a lot there compared to some other knives. Another pro is that you can really customize this knife and make it your own. A lot of people put their own kind of wrap on it. You get to pick your color, pick your style, and kind of just make it yours and put some personality into it. It also has a bottle opener on the bottom. That's great. It does work, and it works well to open bottles, but the fence breaker is just really weak. And the fence breaker, the way you use it, and I'm just going to show you this real quick. This is a big con to me. How do you hold this and not get a hold of the blade to open a bottle or use a fence breaker? You have to slip the sheath back over it, which means you have to take the whole thing off your belt just to use that. Which is okay, you just got to know that. So, to open a bottle, obviously you put the cap in there and give it a pop. But to use the fence breaker, you just put the piece of fence in there and start twisting back and forth until it breaks. I don't know of any instance where anybody would really use that. Anybody in a military setting is going to have some sort of tool to do that. It just seems like kind of a waste there, and they wanted to slap an extra feature on this knife, in my opinion. So in the end, it just depends on what your application is. My personal preference just for a neck knife in general is something smaller, just because I'm not going to use it on a day-to-day basis. But I really like the Becker Necker as well. I'm probably going to take it out for deer season with me, just try it out and see how it does. The only thing that worries me a little bit is that the normal knife I use a SOG Seal Pup, just because of the plastic handle and the blood and all that stuff. If I get any deer blood on this thing, it's just going to have to be rewrapped, I think. So, but I'm still going to try the blade out. We'll see how it does. Who knows? We'll just have to see. So anyway, that's the review and comparison, and thanks for watching. Have a good one.